we're back at the North End this weekend. We were here last weekend for a first foray in the neighborhood, and we had a lot of different seafood and pastas, lots of things that were very difficult to digest after we went home. And this weekend we're back for a little bit more variety. So we're gonna go back to Neptune Oyster, which is the place that we tried to line up for 2 hours for last time. FOMO has coerced me to come back to try Neptune Oyster this time. And we're also gonna try like a couple pizza places that are rated really well in this neighborhood and the best slices that they have. So I'm really excited to continue this adventure and hopefully get a little bit more of a taste of all that this neighborhood has to offer. So let's go now. Okay, so we're here outside of Neptune Oyster. This is one of the most famous locations in the North End. People will say, like, people only stand outside for 2 places, and one of these places is Neptune Oyster. Last time we came here, the line was at the door and along the street and like down the other street. If you want to come here and make sure you reserve a seat, coming here half an hour before they open is a really good best practice. 11 a.m. is their opening, 10:28-ish is a really good idea. So let's go check it out and order a few appetizers. So we're here at Neptune, and this is the menu that they gave us, but then they have like a selection for fresh seafood. We asked the lady what she recommended, and she very tactfully marked these 3. So we're just gonna try one of each for this. And then as for this, there's a lot of apps that look really, really good, but the internet has said that the Johnnycake is probably the best option in terms of just specialty. So we're going to trust the internet. Look at how many other options they have. Like, they have sea urchins here. We're definitely coming back for that. But I think we're going to go for the thing that's the most unique because that's just our MO. So the appetizer, heard a lot about the Johnnycake. Johnnycake's really good. Picking that over the others is a good decision, maybe? Okay. Probably being out in civilization again. So this is the Neptune Johnnycake. Ingredients are honey buttered Boston smoked bluefish topped with sturgeon caviar. This is literally the one golden ticket item to get here that the internet and also our waitress loves. Do you see the landscape of this? Very liquidy. Feels like a mini table earthquake. It's supposed to be called a love cake, I think, because everyone loves you when you get it because they want to eat it and they want you to give it to them. That's great. Okay. So this is going to be spread out fully. Evenly is very difficult for me. It smells really good when you start to disseminate the sauce. Very liquidy. I'm going to do a civil bite with a smaller sliver of this. Wow, that's really good. That's so flavorful, and there's so much soft, buttery texture that's like it's really seeped into with the honey, but it's also a little sour and sweet. It seems a bit of lemon on there. The fish on top is like crispy, flaky, soft, kind of very fancy, hot, and it's steaming. The thing that I really like about this upon first bite is just how fresh and flavorful and saturated it is. Honey and the lemon and the ingredients that bring up the texture. Texture game is really, really good here. I think also the butteriness. It's like a French toast that's been paraded on by like a family of eggs and then just dusted with magic. This is so good. And when I first ordered it, and just the way it looks on the menu, it kind of feels like a glorified breakfast item where you just top a pile of pancakes with a bunch of caviar and just call it, fancy. But the level of precision, the combination of all these ingredients definitely exceeds expectations. The fact that it's topped with this really fresh fish. And I never thought that worked, but it does. And it works really well. This fish is so good. Bring the next thing. This is uni butter, which is sea urchin composed. They top this toast that's obviously very well toasted with this uni sea urchin butter. And this is a lot of butter, first of all, which I'm not sad about at all. The uni smells very mild. But again, it's not like I've smelled a lot of uni in my lifetime. I'm not sure where it is. There's something that's very creamy and smooth and glidey about the way that the butter comes off, even drips off the toast, but it's so viscous and soft. I mean, this is really a downgrading description, but it kind of tastes like what I really like about chipotle mayo. It's really heavily seasoned and creamy and buttery, really well blended. I'm definitely eating like 2 pounds of butter right now, though. There's a lot of butter on here. I remember that there's bread here, but I don't think I've had this quality of lavish dosage of butter for like, I mean, I never use butter, so ever. All right, so the next up is the oysters. Look at how fresh they are. So in clockwise order, Neptune first, followed by Katama Bay, and the last one is the unicorn. Guys, if you ask me which one is which, they all look the freaking same. I really can't tell the big difference here, so we're gonna have to taste it to figure it out. So this is the Neptune. It smells incredibly fresh. We're just gonna do a little smattering of sauce. Here we go. I liked the first dish so much that I'm still thinking about it, and I have to awaken myself to what I'm eating right now. So the first oyster, Neptune, it just tasted incredibly clean, incredibly fresh like water. There wasn't any weird seafoody gaminess at all. So this is Katama Bay from Edgartown, Massachusetts. Oh, I'm so excited for Edgartown. It smells like water, just like the last one. This one's deeper. It's a little bit saltier, but I like that. It can taste more body in the oyster as well. And maybe that's what the salt brings out. I don't do oyster comps very often. The last one here is the unicorn. I only know 2 definitions of unicorn. The first that shows up in little children's dreams. And second is when you raise a billion-dollar company. And the third one is this oyster that I'm eating right now. I think this one's my favorite so far. It's a little bit more tart. It's balanced out with like a tartness and a lemon. There's a little bit more texture too, but I don't know if that's the particular oyster or if it's me. That one tastes the most unique, which is probably why it's called the unicorn. We kind of did an assortment of different apps here. So I feel like I'm missing something because I'm not stuffing my face with copious amounts of pasta, which is actually really nice. Even though there's copious amounts of butter in the last one, it still feels really good. So we're going to leave it here because I really want to save myself for pizza because I promised that we would come back just for pizza. We're going to do that and we're turning off the camera for now. So here we are at Galleria Umberto. This is along Hanover Street with pretty much everything else that is recommended. Don't let the modest storefront fool you. It's supposed to be one of the best pizza places if you want a low-key pizza place. This is it. There isn't a ton of variety, but it's very hearty, very filling, and economical, which is completely different from the fine dining experiences I've had. There's also a ton of other fried carbs that you can try. I already seen a lot of people eat this kind of fried dough ball, so let's go in and try them. So now we're at Galleria Umberto. This is a rustic place. It's a very open concept here. Walk in, self-serve, self-stand in line, self-pay, self-wait. We have here a whole platter, a lavish spread. Okay, so we've got the pizza. There is one option, which is cheese pizza. It's obviously the best option if you have a universal pizza. And then this is a calzone, spinach, cheese, and maybe sausage calzone, some sort of pig dyed. And this is an arancini, which is fried dough stuffed with rice, some sort of meat, and probably more cheese. This is a croquette, maybe ham, but unclear. We'll figure that out. So yeah, here's all of their recommended menu items, but also like what's left for today, because this place is only open for about 4 or 5 hours every day. Here's their one-size-fits-all cheese pizza. We're gonna go for the pizza first because it's a pizza place. I'm not gonna do it like the New Yorkers do it because this is not the kind of pizza you do this. You see how sticky this is? Really? Okay. That is oozing and boozing with tomato sauce. Almost like a Sicilian type pizza because there's a lot of crust, a lot of cheese, lots of volume, lots of thickness. It's pretty fresh. It came right out of the oven, sliding down your hand because it's so fresh. This is an Olympic stream of pizza oil. I can't cease the stream of oil. That's how fresh it is. I'm personally not a cheese person pizza. I always avoided the cheese pizza line in elementary school. I was a diehard pepperoni fan. I also like supreme pizza, even like a Red Baron. I like vegetable pizza, chicken and broccoli pizza, pizza with pesto sauce on it. I like pizza with unconventional ingredients like shrimp and pineapple. I don't go for cheese pizza most days of the week, but for a fresh, straight out of the oven cheese pizza, this is pretty good. For how thick it looks, a lot of the crust is actually quite fluffy and it's not as dense and thick as you would expect. You can concentrate on the tomato flavors, which are very, very juicy, as you can tell. Eating pizza while holding 2 cameras when you're slightly disabled is actually very challenging. I'm gonna go for the calzone next because it's a calzone. It's the most like pizza. This is thick as heck. I'm very surprised by the denseness of this bread. Spring, 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 springiness. I'm mostly just waiting to get to some cheese. It was really challenging in the meantime. Okay. I'm starting to taste more sausage, but I'm a little bit sad about how long it took to do that. So the solution to this conundrum is to slice halfway through and start eating it from the center, because a lot more of the ingredients are concentrated from the center. As you depart from the center, they slowly depart from your mouth. I'm gonna just rip it apart so that I can feel better about my life. You can see the cross section and the cavity is open concept in here too, just like this restaurant. Oh, okay. I started tasting more of the spinach with the meat, and I like them much better. I can taste a representative bite of them. It tastes significantly better, but still not great. It's not bad. I've been looking at this for a long time now. This is why I saw this at so many people's tables. This is very good. Whenever you fry dough and you stuff rice in it and there's cheese involved, it's always not going to taste bland. Do you see how much rice is packed up in there? They really put some muscle into packing up this rice in here. It's really good. Have you tried it before? Oh, favorite. That's funny. So I pulled it apart a little bit more. There's a lot more sauce. It's very well flavored compared to, honestly, even the pizza. I mean, get the pizza because you're coming here for pizza, right? But I would go for this right after that, if not before that. I mean, this is an appetizer size. You see this? 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 Do you think it's going to keep going? Do you think it's going to keep going? Do you think it's going to? It went pretty far. I'm telling you. That's my favorite so far. So now we're gonna do this one. Oh, this cheese pull is gonna be something else. I think it's winning. I think it's winning. I think it's winning. I think it's winning. Look at that. It's 1 hand, 2 hand, 3 hands. Pretty good. That's mozzarella. This is like holiday mashed potato croquette with oodles and googles of cheese inside. Beautiful. Really satisfying. 150% recommend this over the calzone. I would still go for this one before this one, but these are both much better than the calzone. If you want something that's not pizza, don't go for the calzone, go for these. Those are my favorite mashed potato flavor. It's so basic, but it's so good. Fried dough with cheese. This is my favorite item here. I mean, I don't have a lot of arancini on a daily basis, but people here can testify. 4 out of 5 tables have like an order of this next to an order of the pizza. Highly recommend this one. And it keeps its temperature. That's very important if you're gonna sit here and talk about your life instead of eating. Yeah, so this is definitely a family-friendly joint. It's clearly a neighborhood attraction. All sorts of different people communing here. It feels like a home walking in. Doors are open, very COVID-friendly, cafeteria-like seating. So if you're down for pizza and you want to just like chill, this is a great place to come. Everything's hearty, very, very, very cheap, and worth it. So we're gonna go to a different place after this. It'll still be for pizza. It might be a little bit different, but we don't know. So we'll have to check it out. Go to the next place. So we're outside of Ernesto's, really, really close to Neptune Oyster. Now this is the second pizza place we're going to. It's very nice in the hole in the wall, very nestled in this neighborhood street. We're gonna take this pizza and we're gonna go eat it in the middle of a plaza with sun shining all over us, because who wouldn't want to be in a splendid reality outdoors while eating pizza? So we're gonna do that. Okay, so I'm really excited for this because we're outside in the nature of real people's lives and they're not trapped in rooms during a pandemic. So yeah, we're in the middle of the square on the intersection of Hanover Street and another avenue perpendicular to it, in the middle of lots of buildings, but more importantly, human beings, surrounded by billboards, construction, numerous breeds of birds, and creatures otherwise known as children. We purchased 2 slices of pizza from Ernesto's, which is the last place on our list. Ernesto's, North End, Boston. Their old world pizza, which makes me excited because living in New England, you don't feel like you can ever really live in the old world. It's actually quite a large box because the slices are not average. It is cut in two, but it's one slice. Do not be fooled, folks. This is a margarita pizza, one of the most attractive and brilliantly colored menu items. This is one of the classics, in the old world at least. Look at that bread bump, that is humongous. And underneath it, with this lovely sun acting as natural clay oven, pizza slice number 2, which is also humongous, sausage and pepper pizza, just the way I like it. They made it so easy for sharing. Wait, hold on. I need to eliminate the threat. Yeah. This is much more like I would expect pizza to taste like. Especially because I think all the advertisements on the streets for that kind of thin crust, margarita style pizza, very large, very wide. This looks really good. Flavor profile review, similar to the last place, the tomato sauce was very fresh, very tangy, very light. This is also the same, but it's used for a better purpose in my personal opinion. Purpose being surrounded by other things that are not cheese. Personal preference is for this one. I'm actually not a big fan of thin crust. Probably because I moved to New York instead of being born in New York. And New York style thin crust pizza is like one of many kinds of pizza that I enjoy. You know, I don't swear the allegiance to the United States of thin crusted pizza. I enjoy like that thick, bouncy, robust flavor. Deep dish pizza, Pizza Hut pizza, Sicilian style pizza, which is kind of more like the last place. But for a thin crust pizza, this is really good. I really appreciate how much basil is here. You know that all that's in a margarita pizza is a bird. Is pizza, is bread, basil, cheese, tomato, mushed into sauce paste, and like oven / cooking. And there's like other spices sprinkled on it, but like that's so simple and basic. You know, I'm a buffet style type person. Like I like variety. I like dumping things on top of each other. I like making combinations that people kind of gawk at sometimes. But for a very basic margarita pizza, it's very good. I think I understand now. We're gonna move on to the next pizza. It's kind of heavy. Just kidding. I mean, look at the amount of meat on this. Combination of flavors on this. I will always like tomatoes and mozzarella and basil, but I will also always like meat and vegetables and more cheese better than that. Yeah. There's different kinds of cheese on this too. So much deeper and richer. Thing that you can't like use chicken bouillon to replace a piece of meat. So nothing can lend flavor better to things that aren't meat except meat. So this makes it a lot more flavorful. You see how heavy this is and how the meat is severely compromising the straightness of this pizza. But I really like that. The one complaint I have on this is that somebody allowed the liquid to get out of control a little bit. It's not as crispy, and it could be just a little bit more seasoned. But other than that, what's naturally coming together on this plate that is made of bread is just so much more organically delightful to me than the meatless margarita pizza. This old world pizza that Ernesto created for us, I enjoy that probably about twice as much as the previous pizza place that we had. This is actually very easy to eat. My mic on. We're by the water now. The Harbor Walk in Boston. Amigos y amigas. Now our journey has concluded. We have visited 3 new restaurants in the North End. My favorite from Neptune Oyster, the first restaurant, was by far the caviar pancakes, i.e. Johnnycakes. That is my favorite thing that we ate today out of all the things that we ate today. The uni butter smeared bread was a novelty, but I must say that the people have spoken for many years about the Johnnycakes, and they have not disappointed me. You should eat the Johnnycakes. You must do it. Out of the 2 pizza places different styles of cooking, pizza baking, crust making, dough rolling. Ernesto's is my favorite. The thin crust, more than one topping, more than just cheese. It always makes my heart happy because it makes me feel less bad that I'm just eating a bunch of cheese and carbs. And out of the two, I will tip my hat to the margarita pizza and run to the sausage and pepper pizza because there's just something about sausage and peppers that makes my heart even warmer. So sausage and pepper pizza from Ernesto's, of the pizzas, and the never before seen, never before heard, never before tasted caviar pancakes. That's what I recommend, folks. And you gotta try them. You gotta line up. You gotta go there at 10:25 a.m. some day that you're really hungry. Order some oysters on the side because you're there, because they're fresh, but don't go there just for the oysters. Go there for the Johnnycakes. I swear to you, you're not gonna regret that. Even if it's not your favorite, you should do it. And eat pizza, because pizza is cheap and makes you feel better about your life. Thanks for being here with me. This is a beautiful world filled with many different types of food, and I'm excited to leave the North End so I can eat more of it with you. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks and bye.